Home Secretary Jacqui Smith and her husband have apologised following another controversy over MPs' expenses. She said she had mistakenly submitted an expenses claim which included the cost of 2 pay-per-view adult films which were watched at her family home. Ms Smith is already under investigation over allowances claimed for her second home. Rita Chakrabarti reports.
Happier times for the Smiths, but today she was said to be livid with him and he was utterly mortified. There was no hiding their humiliation. Expenses claims for viewing adult movies leaked to the papers. Jacqui Smith wasn't at home when it happened. Today sources said her husband will be on the sofa for a while, despite issuing a sheepish apology.
I am really sorry for any embarrassment I have caused Jacqui. I can fully understand why people might be angry and offended by this. Quite obviously, a claim should never have been made for these films. And as you know, that money is being paid back.
A copy of a bill from last April obtained by a Sunday paper shows 5 separate pay-per-view films were including 2 so-called additional features, a euphemism for adult films. Jacqui Smith said she'd mistakenly submitted the claim, that she'd contacted the authorities and will pay back all the money claimed for the television package. MPs are allowed to claim up to £24,000 a year for expenses incurred from running a second home. These include cable TV, telephone and other communications charges like the internet. But the rules do state that any claim has to be exclusively for performing their parliamentary duties.
It is the tip of an iceberg. There are many other MPs, probably less well known than the Home Secretary, whose arrangements also don't pass muster in my view. But I think as far as Mrs Smith is concerned, she seems to be so unbelievably out of touch with this.
Jacqui Smith is already being investigated for controversially claiming over £100,000 in second home allowances for her family home. She's not the only one. Employment Minister Tony McNulty is also in the spotlight. He lives 3 miles from Westminster but claimed allowances on a house 11 miles away. A cabinet colleague accepted that the rules on allowances had to change.
I'm not going to make any comment about individual allegations in respect of MPs' expenses. What I know is that the system has to be much, much clearer than it was in the past.
The Home Secretary has the huge issue of the G20 and public order to deal with this week. Public embarrassment was not meant to be part of the script. Rita Chakrabarti, BBC News.
The Spanish government has had to intervene for the first time to...
This is very much a personal matter for Jacqui. She's made her apology. Her husband has made it clear that he has apologised. I think the best thing is that Jacqui Smith gets on with her work, which is what she wants to do. The Home Secretary is doing a great job. And I don't think this issue should be allowed to detract from everything that she's doing to ensure we protect the public and keep our neighbourhoods safe. And she's done the right thing by taking steps to rectify the mistake that was made as soon as she became aware of it, and I think that is generally acknowledged.
Moron Brown has been defending his troubled Home Secretary. He described the controversy about Jacqui Smith's expenses claim, which included the cost of 2 adult movies, as a personal matter. A review into parliamentary expenses is set to report by the next general election. But, as Joe Coburn now reports, that's not soon enough for many who believe that some MPs are exploiting the system to top up their pay.
Secretary, are you going to resign?
Under siege and under pressure.
How embarrassing is this for you, Home Secretary?
Home Secretary, is this not an issue of credibility now?
Jacqui Smith is battling to save her reputation as the fallout over her expenses intensifies. She's said to be furious with her husband after it emerged he claimed for the cost of watching 2 adult films. But the Home Secretary was back on duty today with the Prime Minister. The latest revelations, the last thing he needs with the G20 this week, but for now he's standing by her.
The Home Secretary is doing a great job, and I don't think this issue should be allowed to detract from everything that she's doing to ensure we protect the public and keep our neighbourhoods safe. And she's done the right thing by taking steps to rectify the mistake that was made.
Jacqui Smith's already being investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner for treating her sister's home here in London as her main residence, rather than her family home in her constituency. Jacqui Smith's house here in Redditch is classed as her second home, for which she's claimed £116,000 of allowances since 2001. It's also where her husband watched 2 adult films, paid for with public money and signed off by the parliamentary authorities. In a new breakdown of MPs' expenses, it's been revealed today that Jacqui Smith claimed £22,900 in second home allowances for 2007 to 2008. It's reported that included 88 pence for a bath plug and £1,000 for an antique fireplace, including the coal. All these claims are within the rules.
I think that Gordon Brown, David Cameron and myself should sit down soon and say, look, this is getting out of hand. We've got to sort this mess out. We shouldn't pretend someone else is going to sort it out.
We should have a quick review right now, sort it out and come up with an answer. The very least we should do is go into the next election absolutely knowing this sort of stuff is not going to go on into the next Parliament.
Jacqui Smith isn't the only MP in trouble over expenses. Derek Conway, the Tory MP, was found guilty last year of misusing public money. Minister Tony McNulty is being investigated for claiming allowances on a second home lived in by his parents. And Labour's Harry Cohen is one of a number of MPs who's claimed the full second home allowance for his constituency house in London. The parties are now starting to recognise the scale of public outrage over parliamentary expenses, and there are fears that faith in the Commons authorities has been shattered. But many MPs claim they've done nothing wrong, and it's the system that's at fault. There are also rumours that the recent expenses stories involving Labour MPs are being leaked from the very office that signs off the claims. Putting on a brave face, despite persistent questions about her future as Home Secretary.
Have you resigned?
No, it hasn't come to that yet, but there's still a long way to go before she's in the clear. Jo Coburn, BBC News.
Well, within the last hour, Gordon Brown has been making his views on expenses a little clearer. Let's get the details now from our political correspondent, Gary O'Donoghue, who's at Westminster. Gary, what are the Prime Minister's views?
A couple of difficult things have happened for the government today, George. Number one, the Senior Salaries Review Body has announced a 2.33% increase for MPs. And secondly, we learned that MPs claimed something like £93 million in expenses and allowances last year. Now, the government is doing a couple of things to offset this. Ministers are going to take a pay freeze. They're not going to take the rise they get as ministers or as MPs. Indeed, the Conservatives are saying that some of their senior people, David Cameron included, won't take an increase either. But Gordon Brown is also saying to the Committee on Standards in Public Life that we need to look at these expenses, and he's suggesting an abolition of the controversial second homes allowance for every MP outside London, and that be replaced by a flat rate tied to the number of times you attend the Commons. He's also suggesting that the expenses and allowance be managed centrally rather than through MPs' books. So some radical suggestions there, and the government will be hoping that this will move the debate on from dirty films to the clean-up of the expenses system.
All right, Gary, thank you.